15 things illegal now, but normal in 1970s. The 1970s were wild, and not just in fashion or music. It was a time when personal freedom reigned supreme, and safety regulations, well, they hadn't quite caught up. From parenting to partying, many things we now consider reckless or even illegal were just part of everyday life. Let's take a look back at 15 things that were perfectly normal in the 70s, but would definitely get you into trouble today. Number 1, riding in the back of a pickup truck. If you grew up in the 70s, there's a good chance you remember piling into the back of a pickup truck with your cousins or neighborhood friends. No seatbelts, no padding, just the metal bed, the open air, and the thrill of bouncing down a country road. Parents didn't think twice about tossing a few kids back there for a quick drive to the store, or even a longer road trip. It was part of the fun, part of being a kid. Today, in many states, it's outright illegal for passengers, especially children, to ride in the back of an open truck. But back then, it was one of those simple joys we didn't even know was dangerous. Number 2, smoking in hospitals. It sounds unthinkable today, but in the 1970s, hospitals weren't smoke-free zones. They were just another place people lit up. Doctors smoked during consultations, nurses puffed away in lounges, and visitors could light a cigarette right in a patient's room. Some hospitals even had ashtrays in waiting areas and smoking sections in the cafeteria. Cigarette machines weren't just for bars, they stood in hospital hallways. Back then, the health risks of smoking were just becoming widely known. But old habits died hard. Today, with strict no-smoking laws and awareness of secondhand smoke, the very idea of lighting up in a hospital feels shocking. But in the 70s, it was business as usual, just part of the smoky air of everyday life. Number 3, leaving kids alone in the car. In the 1970s, leaving your kids in the car while you ran into the store wasn't seen as dangerous. It was normal. Parents would crack the windows, toss the kids a snack or a toy, and disappear into the supermarket or bank. Sometimes they'd even leave the keys in the ignition. No one called the police. No one thought it was neglect. It was just how things were done. Kids waited patiently or not, fiddling with the radio, climbing into the front seat, or playing with the glove box. Today, leaving a child unattended in a vehicle can lead to serious legal trouble. But back then, it was considered practical parenting, not a criminal offense. Number 4, riding bikes without helmets. In the 1970s, every kid had a bike, and not one had a helmet. Whether it was a banana seat cruiser or a BMX-style ride, safety gear just wasn't part of the picture. Parents didn't worry much. Biking was seen as harmless fun. Kids raced down the steep hills, built makeshift ramps, and played chicken without a second thought. A skinned knee or elbow was expected, maybe even a rite of passage. Helmets were rare and often mocked as uncool. Today, bike safety is a serious matter, with many states enforcing helmet laws for children. But back then, you weren't a real rider unless you had the wind in your hair, and maybe a few bandages on your shins. Number 5, drinking and driving casually. In the 1970s, drinking and driving wasn't taken nearly as seriously as it is today. It wasn't unusual to see someone cruising down the road with an open beer in hand, and nobody batted an eye. Bars had spacious parking lots for a reason, and many small-town folks thought nothing of having a few before heading home. Some vehicles even came equipped with built-in ice chests for cold drinks on the go. DUI laws existed, but enforcement was inconsistent, and attitudes were far more relaxed. Today, a single drink before driving is a serious legal and social offense. But back then, a cold beer and a warm engine were just another Saturday night ritual. Risky, yes, but widely accepted. Number 6. Corporal punishment in schools. In the 1970s, getting paddled at school was a real possibility, and most parents were fine with it. If you talked back, got into a fight, or disrupted class, the teacher or principal might reach for the paddle. Some schools kept one hanging in plain sight as a warning. Discipline was swift, and it wasn't uncommon to hear the phrase, "You'll get it at school, and again when you get home." Today, corporal punishment is banned in many states and widely considered abusive. But back then, it was just how order was kept. For many kids, the fear of that wooden paddle was more effective than detention, and a memory they haven't forgotten since. Number 7. No car seats for young children. Strap a baby into a 5-point harness today, and you're following the law. But in the 1970s, most kids didn't even have a car seat. Infants rode on laps, toddlers stood between the front seats, and some kids even napped on the rear dashboard. Car seats, if used at all, were often flimsy and meant more for comfort than safety. Seatbelt laws were still years away in many states, and backseat safety wasn't on anyone's mind. Parents thought nothing of tossing kids in the back and hitting the road. Today, this would be considered dangerously reckless, but in the 70s, it was just another way families traveled together, blissfully unaware of the risks. Number 8. Burning trash in the backyard. In the 1970s, many households didn't wait for garbage pickup. They just burned their trash out back. Metal barrels, known as burn barrels, were a common sight behind garages or sheds. Paper, food wrappers, even plastics went up in smoke, often filling the neighborhood with that unmistakable smell of burning garbage. It was seen as practical and cost-saving, especially in rural or unincorporated areas. There were no strict regulations, no environmental warnings, and definitely no recycling bins. Today, backyard burning is banned in most places due to air pollution and fire hazards. But in the 70s, the sight of smoke rising from a neighbor's yard was as normal as mowing the lawn. Number 9. Parents smoking around kids, even in the car. In the 1970s, smoking was everywhere, including inside the family car with the kids in tow. Parents lit up during road trips, school pickups, or quick drives to the store. Ashtrays came built into every door and dashboard, and no one gave a second thought to the cloud of smoke drifting into the back seat. Babies and toddlers rode along, breathing it all in, windows barely cracked. Today, smoking in a car with children is banned in many states and widely viewed as harmful and irresponsible. But back then, cigarettes were so deeply woven into daily life that few questioned the risks, even when the kids were coughing in the back. Number 10. Fireworks in the neighborhood streets. Come summertime in the 1970s, especially around the 4th of July, neighborhood streets lit up with backyard fireworks. Kids shot off bottle rockets, firecrackers, and Roman candles right on the pavement. No permits, no adult supervision, and certainly no safety gear. The louder and brighter, the better. Neighbors would gather to watch homemade shows, sometimes with a grill going and music blasting from a boombox. Minor burns and backyard fires were shrugged off as part of the fun. Today, most states regulate or ban personal fireworks, and police patrols enforce it. But in the 70s, the streets were your launch pad, and every kid was a part-time pyrotechnician. Number 11. Lack of fencing around school playgrounds. In the 1970s, school playgrounds were wide open. No fences, no locked gates, just a sea of kids running free, sometimes right up to the edge of a busy street. Recess supervisors were often few and far between, and wandering off wasn't all that rare. Kids knew their limits, or didn't, and the world felt safer, even if it wasn't. Today, schools are fenced in, with security protocols and tightly monitored boundaries. But back then, playgrounds flowed straight into neighborhoods. It wasn't considered risky, It was just childhood, uncontained. Looking back, it's a wonder more kids didn't vanish between the monkey bars and the parking lot. Number 12, playing with lawn darts, jarts. In the 1970s, lawn darts, often called jarts, were a staple of backyard fun. These oversized darts, featuring heavy metal tips, were designed to be lobbed underhand toward plastic rings placed on the lawn. The goal? Land the dart inside the ring. Simple, right? But here's the catch. Those metal tips could exert up to 23,000 pounds of pressure per square inch upon impact. Tragically, between 1978 and 1986, over 6,000 people, mostly children, suffered injuries from these darts, leading to at least 3 fatalities. One particularly heartbreaking incident involves 7-year-old Michelle Snow, whose father subsequently led a campaign to ban the game. By December 1988, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission prohibited the sale of lawn darts, urging families to discard them. Today, safer, blunt-tipped versions exist, but the original jarts serve as a stark reminder of a time when fun often came with hidden dangers. Number 13, playing with realistic toy guns. In the 1970s, toy guns were a staple of childhood play. Cap guns, modeled after real firearms, produced loud pops and smoke, making games of cops and robbers thrillingly lifelike. These toys were often made of metal, with intricate designs that closely resembled actual weapons. Children would holster them in plastic belts, emulating their favorite TV cowboys or action heroes. However, the realistic appearance of these toys led to growing safety concerns. By the late 80s, regulations mandated bright colors or orange tips to distinguish toy guns from real ones. Today, many parents opt for less realistic alternatives, mindful of the potential dangers. But back then, a shiny cap gun was a coveted treasure, symbolizing adventure and imagination. Number 14, no seatbelts in the back seat. In the 1970s, seatbelts were more of a suggestion than a rule, especially in the back seat. Most kids didn't buckle up, and many cars didn't even have rear seatbelts installed. On long road trips, kids sprawled out across the bench seat, laid down to nap, or climbed into the cargo area of the family station wagon. Seatbelt laws wouldn't be widely enforced until the mid-1880s, and for many families, the idea of strapping in a child seemed unnecessary. Today, not wearing a seatbelt, especially in the back, is illegal in most states. But back then, freedom of movement and a little sibling wrestling in the back seat was just part of the ride. Number 15, lead in paint and gasoline. In the 1970s, lead was everywhere, on our walls and in our fuel tanks. Homes built before 1978 often used lead-based paint, prized for its durability and vibrant color. But as that paint aged and chipped, it released toxic dust, posing serious health risks, especially to children. Simultaneously, most gasoline contained tetraethyl lead, an additive used to reduce engine knock. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency began phasing out leaded gasoline in 1973, but it remained available for years. Today, both lead-based paint and leaded gasoline are banned due to their harmful effects. But back then, they were just part of everyday life, unseen dangers hiding in plain sight. Looking back, it's clear the 1970s were a different world. Less regulated, more carefree, and sometimes dangerously naive. From riding in open truck beds to lighting fireworks in the street, we lived with fewer rules and more risks. Some of it was fun. Some of it, we now know, was harmful. But for those who lived it, it was a time of freedom, discovery, and unforgettable memories. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own 70s stories in the comments. Until next time, stay safe and stay nostalgic.